Hello there, friends. Today I'm at the beautiful Mount Pleasant, sorry, I've forgotten the name, Mount Pleasant Palmetto Island County Park. And now I'm walking around on Nature Island. I don't see too much nature today, so perhaps it's time to have a article instead. Today's article will be coming from HBR's book, Mindfulness. Here is the book. It's a very brief article, and it is entitled, Is Something...
Oh man.
The title of this article is Something Lost When We Use Mindfulness as a Productivity Tool? It's written by Charlotte Lieberman. There's a very brief biography here. It says, Charlotte Lieberman is a New York-based writer and editor. No additional information is given, though this was adapted from content posted in 2015, so I imagine over the last 11 years Charlotte has been up to something. In any case, let's go through this article. I don't necessarily agree with everything that's written in this article or the tone that it takes, but we take what we can from the article and leave what needs to be left. So let's answer the question. Is something lost when we use mindfulness as a productivity tool? I came to mindfulness as a healing practice after overcoming an addiction to the drug Adderall during my junior year of college. I found myself in the situation because I thought that using Adderall to help me focus was no big deal, an attitude shared by 81% of students nationwide. Charlotte references an article from Substance Use and Misuse. The title of the article is Adderall is definitely not a drug, justification for the illegal use of ADHD stimulants, written by A.D. DeSantis and A.C. Hain. So, an attitude shared by 81% of students nationwide that using Adderall to help focus was no big deal. Adderall seemed like an innocuous shortcut to getting things done efficiently and effortlessly. I still remember the rush I felt my first night on Adderall. I completed every page of assigned Faulkner reading, not easy. Started and finished a paper several weeks before the due date, because why not? Swiffered my room twice and answered all of my unread emails, even the irrelevant ones. It's also worth noting that I had forgotten to eat all night and somehow found myself still awake at 4 a.m., my jaw clenched and my stomach rumbling. Sleep was nowhere in sight. What I saw initially as a shortcut to more focus and productivity ultimately turned out instead to be a long detour towards self-destruction. Rather than thinking of focus as the byproduct of my own power and capability, I looked outside of myself, thinking that a pill would solve my problems. Long story short, I eventually came to grips with my problem, got off the drug, and found an antidote to my crippling self-doubt: meditation, particularly mindfulness or vipassana meditation. So to me, it's somewhat ironic that mindfulness has taken the media by storm precisely for its scientifically proven benefits for focus and productivity. Charlotte references a talk for the scientifically proven benefits for focus and productivity of mindfulness, and the talk is The Effects of Mindfulness Meditation Training on Multitasking in a High-Stress Information Environment, a talk given by D.M. Levy et al. At the Graphics Interface Conference in 2012. By the way, the wind has picked up here on Nature Island. I hope the sound is coming through. I can only find out when I edit, so apologies if it's too noisy. In any case, it's not just because I came to mindfulness as a way of healing from the fallout of the amount of pressure I put on myself to be productive. While mindfulness is not a little pill, it's starting to be thought of as a kind of shortcut to focus and productivity, not unlike a morning coffee. A wisdom tradition associated with personal growth and insight is now being absorbed by our culture as a tool for career development and efficiency. But should mindfulness really be used to attain to a particular goal? Is it okay to think of a practice that's all about being as just another tool for doing? Companies seem to think so. Given the mindfulness buzz, it's no surprise that corporate mindfulness programs are proliferating across the country. Google offers Search Inside Yourself classes that teach mindfulness meditation at work. As celebrated in the recent book, again this was written in 2016 or 2015, as celebrated in the recent book Mindful Work by David Gellis, corporations like Goldman Sachs, HBO, Deutsche Bank, I don't know if Deutsche Bank's even around anymore, Target and Bank of America tout the productivity related benefits of meditation to their employees. The world of professional athletics, most recently the NFL, too, has drawn attention to the achievement-oriented underpinnings of the mainstream mindfulness movement. The 2015 Wall Street Journal article that explored the Seattle Seahawks' success in the 2014 Super Bowl explained that the team's secret weapon was its willingness to work with a sports psychologist who teaches mindfulness. Seahawks assistant coach Tom Cable went so far as to describe the team as incredibly mindful. This article was written in January, a month before the Seahawks lost the 2015 Super Bowl. In the wake of their defeat, I heard several conversations among acquaintances and family members, all of whom were sports fans and were non-meditating but aware of meditation, in which they expressed skepticism about the power of meditation for focus and success. I mean, how much can we embrace mindfulness as a tool for success if a team famous for meditating lost the Super Bowl? Still a lot, I think. And I'm stopping here to admit, if you haven't already concluded yourself, that the commodification of mindfulness as a productivity tool leaves me with a strange taste in my mouth. Above all, I am resistant to the teleological attitude towards meditation, that it's a tool designed for a particular purpose, contingent on results. And yet, asserting this skepticism brings me back to a conversation I had with my vegan cousin a few years ago. He is a PhD student in biological anthropology, an animal activist, and a long-time vegan. When I asked him if he was irked by all the celebrities going vegan to lose weight, he shook his head vigorously, saying, "I'd rather have people do the right thing for the wrong reason than not do the right thing at all," he explained. The right thing here being veganism. The philosophy, well, actually, I'll add another point. I heard a very similar thing said by the during the Beatles' rise, the British invasion, as it were. The yogi Mahesh Yogi stated something similar about the transcendental meditation movement, which was taking the US by storm at the time. And I guess, I don't know the story in all its details, but essentially Yogi was making all sorts of claims and agreeing that, yes, transcendental meditation can do this, that, and the other. And it was not accepted by the general yoga community. And when asked about it, when pressed by other practitioners and yogis, he said something along the lines of, "I tell them what they want to hear so that eventually they learn to want what I want to tell them." Something along those lines. I probably made a complete mess of it, but in any case, it's the similar idea to what this vegan cousin of Charlotte's is saying about having people do the right thing for the wrong reason than not do the right thing at all. This philosophy seems applicable to the mindfulness craze, aka McMindfulness. I'm happy more people are getting the myriad of benefits of meditation. I am glad that you're no longer thought of as a patchouli-scented hippie if you're an avid meditator. If corporate mindfulness programs mean that employee self-care is more valued in the workplace, then so be it. But I also think there's room to consider an alternative way of talking about meditation, especially when it comes to how we relate to our work. Looking at mindfulness as a tool for accomplishing what we need to get done keeps us trapped in a future-oriented mindset, rather than encouraging us to dilate the present moment. Of course, this doesn't invalidate the neuroscience. Mindfulness helps us get more stuff done. But what about allowing mindfulness to just be? To have the effects it is going to have without attaching a marketing pitch to this ancient practice. Psychologist Christine Neff is renowned for coining the term self-compassion. In particular, Neff has asserted that the first component of self-compassion is kindness, the ability to shrug off those times when we let ourselves down, when we don't get to check off everything from our to-do lists. The other two components of self-compassion are awareness and mindfulness. The goal is not to get more done, but to understand that we are enough and that our worth is not contingent on what we get done. Although studies have shown that self-forgiveness actually helps us procrastinate less. Oh, interesting. Let me share the reference that Charlotte gives for that. It is from the journal Personality and Individual Differences, an article written by M.J.A. Wall et al., entitled, I Forgive Myself. Now I Can Study How Self-Forgiveness for Procrastinating Can Reduce Future Procrastination. Charlotte continues, I'm not an idealist. I'm not saying everyone should start oming, devoting themselves solely to self-compassion and forgetting all about their to-do lists. But I am saying that compassion and self-compassion ought to move into the foreground as we talk about mindfulness, even in corporate mindfulness programs. The final paragraph of this article. There's no shame in wanting to be productive at work, but there's also no shame in being able to cut yourself some slack, to extend yourself some love during those times at work when things don't feel so great. Thank you.